Wait a minute. Oh. We are live. Yeah.
Nice.
Just waiting on Easy. He should hopefully be popping on here soon.
Yeah, and basically the idea today is to see from someone who competed at it what the experience at the Masters Legends Championship was like this year. It happened a couple of weeks ago. We were in Dubai. There was a lot going on that weekend, and it was pretty difficult to stay up to date with all of it.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, we would have liked to have been in 3 different places at the same time. Haven't figured out how to do that yet. So we were in Dubai. We did have Nico over in FitFest getting some stuff for us, and has since come on to talk about that. So there's an episode about that if you missed it. And then kind of, we didn't want to lose sight of the fact that the Legends competition happened that weekend, but it wasn't live streamed. There's no broadcast of it, so you couldn't go back and watch it. And so we thought one of the best ways to maybe do it would be to invite an athlete, someone who's out there competing, and get the kind of their perspective. So when Easy jumps on, that's what we're going to do. In the meantime, though, until he comes, I think it can be just a good opportunity to say, obviously it's a holiday time of season, just to say thank you to the people that have been supporting us, have been continuing to support us, and the new supporters. We get a few extra Patreon signups seemingly every week, which is really nice, and we appreciate those of you that have done that. If you didn't know that was something that you could do, it is available for you. We don't advertise it a ton. It doesn't really get you anything separately. It's just a way for you to support us. It's been available since we launched on May 1st, and we're grateful to those that do it. This has been a pretty busy week for us. A lot of content that we've been putting out. So there's a 3-part review of the Dubai Fitness Championships, 3 separate articles. Today published an article about the experience we had in Izmir, Turkey. I believe tomorrow there'll be one about the Fall Series Throwdown from Milan, and then several podcasts as well, including kind of an impromptu one that we did yesterday with Brent Fikowski, who was gracious enough to come on basically in a moment's notice and just go over the rule book with us blindly. We had received word from CrossFit that it was out, had not had a chance to look through it, and then did that live on air, Patrick and Brent and I. And then last night, kind of a strange time for us, what we had to accommodate the guests who are in Hong Kong. Is Ant Haynes, who's 30th at the CrossFit Games this past year, also completed at the Dubai Fitness Championship a couple weeks ago, and his brother Ed Haynes, who have been, I would say, leading a movement of health and fitness in Hong Kong for their community for over a decade. So learned about kind of where they came from, what they've seen in their part of the world with the development of CrossFit and fitness there. And it's pretty good. I don't think that maybe everyone was that aware of that we were doing it. There was another show I think Sevan was doing at the same time. But if you missed that one, it's pretty interesting. It's different than most of the ones we do. So that's what we've been up to this week. And there he is, my roommate from Power Monkey Camp. What's up, Easy?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good. About to grab some food real quick.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try not to take too much of your time. Happy holidays for one.
Yeah, happy Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa,
you got a festive sweatshirt on there, it looks like.
Yeah, minding my Black-owned business.
Did you buy that somewhere, or do you make that?
Nah, I bought it somewhere.
Those are the stores. I don't know how to find those stores.
You got
like a secret code or something.
You just got to hang out with me more.
Well, did get a great chance to hang out in Crossville, I guess, at the Power Monkey Camp this year. That was really fun.
That was.
And just we're gonna kind of just focus on the Masters Legends Championship this conversation. But if you don't know who Easy is, he's been around for a long time. Competed in the 2015 and 17 CrossFit Games as an individual, and one of the more generous humans I've ever met. He does a lot of work with nonprofits, with kids, and has for a long time. So very good person. There's a lot of podcasts that he's done over the years. He's a great programming mind, great athlete, just a great human. So Easy. Thanks for taking the time, man. We couldn't get to the Legends this year because it was the same weekend as Dubai, and we'd had previous commitments to be there.
Gotcha.
There was no live stream of the competition. So if you weren't there, you didn't get to see it.
Yeah, you missed out.
And that those competition organizers, that event is going to be the CrossFit Games for the Masters divisions next season.
Yeah.
So we think that it's, kind of valuable to keep a pulse on what happened there that weekend. And we thought, why don't we invite a friend who is there competing in a pretty competitive division to kind of maybe walk us through it. So first of all, have you done that? Because Legend's been around for 3 or 4 seasons now. Have you ever done that one before?
No, last year it was out in Mayhem. I didn't make it out. I had a seminar that I was teaching that weekend. And the year before, I was too young. So I just went out there as a fundraiser event and hung out and, got to see the competition and stuff like that.
And then this year you were able to do it. Did you have to qualify for that?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. I had to do a qualifier. Yeah. We had to talk about it. And I was like, hey, man, why don't you just give me that invite? He was like, easy. I love you, man. But everybody has to qualify. And I was like, respect. So, yeah.
And if you made the CrossFit Games in your division this year, did that count as a qualification spot?
I don't know. I think you could. No, that was for Desert City. So I don't know how the process went. I just signed up and did it online.
Yeah. And so look, they had basically all the divisions you'd expect, 35 through 65 plus for men and women. They also had scaled divisions there. And if you just kind of like scroll down the leaderboard, there were more or less the similar numbers of athletes that you're going to expect to see next year at the games as well. You see there were 34 athletes that actually competed and another handful that didn't show up for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But the younger divisions at the games next year will have 40 athletes there. So it was simulating that to some extent. Maybe you don't have all of the people that you would expect to see there, but like I said, there's still some really, really fit, talented guys and girls in every division. Was this a 4-day competition?
4-day, yep. Thursday through Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, it's kind of, again, laying the groundwork for what you would expect to see at an event that's going to become the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
But a lot of divisions to get through. And so, navigating and managing that many athletes, that many divisions, 4 days is challenging. What did the first day look like?
We had the swim event. I think it was a 15, 12, 9 dumbbell shouldered overhead, 15 on each arm, 12 on each arm, 9 on each arm. So, and then a swim, 100 meter swim. It was 15 on each arm, 100 meter swim, 12 on each arm, 100 meter swim, 9 on each arm, 100 meter swim. And then we had a max snatch and clean and jerk, 4 minutes to hit each number, each lift.
And that was like later in the day.
Yeah.
So I started outside with the pool, had a little weightlifting to go with it. I'm always just curious about this. Do you feel that the weightlifting made much of a difference in that workout, or was it basically the best swimmers were winning?
I mean, it's hard to beat a swimmer in a workout where the capacity of the other movements or other things don't weigh as much. So, yeah, I think a swimmer is going to win that workout no matter what, because the dumbbell was only, I think, 60 pounds.
Yep.
And it wasn't like 15 and 15 took like 45 seconds to a minute. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like max with that dumbbell. But that swim is gonna take you a little bit over, and it's just more fatiguing. So I think that workout for sure was a swimmer's workout.
And it's tough to program a swimming workout that's balanced with whatever else is included in there.
Especially because it's still new to the sport, like new to not the games level athletes or at the CrossFit Games, but like it's new to like more so the smaller comps or the comps that you do throughout the year. It's still new. So swimming is that thing where it's like everyone's kind of incorporating it now and getting better at it. But the person that is the swimmer is gonna still dominate those events.
And so, it's kind of somewhat to offset that, I guess, on the first day of competition. This is not that uncommon to see an aerobic-based event in the morning and some kind of a weightlifting expedition at night. And so, as Easy mentioned, it was 4 minutes to find a snatch.
1 minute rest, 4 minutes to find a clean and jerk.
Everyone had their own barbell.
Yep.
and no minimum or maximum number of lifts, just 4 minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes. You can go up and down in weight, however you want to game it.
And just like right off the bat, you take an 18th on the swim and you win the weightlifting. Who would have guessed it?
I didn't even think I was going to win the weightlifting, but yeah, got it done.
Well, it was pretty convincing too. I mean, 20 pounds over the next closest guy.
Yeah, if I would have hit that 350, it would have been 50 pounds over the next guy.
Oh shit!
I missed it twice.
So, I mean, obviously you've been competing for a long time. After what day one of competition, I'm guessing you really weren't feeling that bad. I mean, you lift heavy a lot of days.
Yeah,
and a little swim in the morning.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't. I would say like that was the beautiful thing about the competition. It didn't beat you up too much. It didn't beat you up too much at all. Like I wasn't wrecked. I wasn't destroyed. I felt okay. And so that was a huge plus about that day one opening up with 2 workouts that were kind of really, it was just fun. Like it was just a fun day. Like super intense, super competitive, but it was just a fun day.
Yeah, and I mean, you got a great shot there. You guys can see kind of the venue there where they did the swim. That's at Arizona State University, and it's pretty nice pool to do a.
I was leaving out the.
Did we lose him? Patrick, you there? Am I by myself?
There we go. My bad. I was leaving out of the Wi-Fi.
Nice. Okay, so fun first day. Hit the pool, hit the barbell, and then come back for day number 2. A lot of times the competitions in the Masters divisions will schedule the younger divisions to go last. Was that how they had that set up as well?
I think we went last the first 2 days, and then we went first. I can't remember exactly. The structure of how that went.
Well, either way, you come back the next day, and
one of the days I was like, "Why they got all the old people going?" I was joking around. I was like, "Why they got all the old people going super late?" So yeah, one of the days we went early and they went last.
And it is crazy when you think about it. You got people competing there that are 35 all the way up until pushing 70. And like Easy's right, the lifestyle of a 35, 45, even 55-year-old compared to someone who's 60 to 70 years old is different. And so, it's not like, I know it's competition and you should be prepared for whatever, but even it kind of makes sense still to have the younger guys compete a little earlier, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. The older guys compete earlier.
Older guys, yeah. So second day, come back, and was this? I think this Hell's Bells workout, was that the first one that you guys hit with the? It's like, it looks nasty, honestly.
Foot dumbbell lunge. Once you complete that, you then have 36 unbroken dumbbell deadlifts, 24 unbroken dual dumbbell hang squat cleans, and then 12 devil's press. And then you run to the finish line.
And I think if you broke on any part of the workout before you got to the devil's press, you had to do 2 devil's press.
Yes. It was a very strategic style workout, and it made you think a little bit. Whenever they add unbroken, it just makes the athlete overthink things.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Did everyone have to do a penalty at some point?
A lot of people did do penalties at some point. Some people did it on the lunges. Some people did it on the hang squat cleans. But yeah, a lot of people had to do penalties.
And it was pretty tight. I mean, they had a time cap of 7 minutes. I don't think there was one guy, I don't know who this is, Blake Sama. He just annihilated this workout, beat everyone by 40 seconds. And then everyone else was, within a minute of finishing or getting time capped. So it was kind of one of those where every second mattered. In some cases, you beat a guy by 1 second. And then for the guys that got capped, every rep could potentially be places on the leaderboard. So it was pretty tight.
Yeah, it was a good race. That workout was a fun race.
And that led into a workout that when I first saw this workout, I thought you would be pretty tough to beat on it. There was one guy who beat you by 2 seconds. It's just called jump. It's got legless rope climbs and double unders, crossovers, and a variety of different jump roping things. But if you don't know, Easy's legless rope climb skills are things of legend from workouts from 2014 regionals specifically. And here's a great shot of why he would just immediately think that he might be a good candidate to win this one. I'm guessing when you saw this workout, your eyes lit up.
I literally saw this workout and I was like, I know for sure in my mind, just thinking, I'm like, I don't think there's anyone that can beat me in this workout. Like, I don't care how top tier of an athlete you are. Like, double unders, I'm very, very efficient at, very, very good at, especially with the heavy Kronos or Zeus or Hades rope. Rope climbs, I'm super efficient at. So literally before I started this workout, I said, I'm just going to try to move at a pace where I have no control and see what happens. Because I was super confident in this workout. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. Like, I'm not going to try to strategize it or move efficiently. I'm just going to move as fast as I can. And so I knew it wouldn't turn out bad for me for that workout, but I ended up getting second by 2 seconds because the guy next to me was super efficient. He just moved so efficiently through the rope climbs and through the workout, and he ended up beating me by 2 seconds. So it was a great showing on his part. And I just went out to have some fun in that one.
And it must have been like an electric 2.5 minutes because you beat another guy by 2 seconds. So there were 3 of you guys that for 2 minutes and 25 seconds were just going rep for rep, fast as you can, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, he got me because I messed up on my double unders twice. In the set of 60, I messed up twice. My cycle rate was much faster than his. And I caught up to him, messed up. He got a couple reps ahead of him, caught up to him again, messed up, and then he ended up finishing, and I got it. And then the guy right next to him finished right after him. So it was a tight race. It was fun. That one was fun.
And were those the only 2 workouts on day number 2?
Yep, those were the only 2 for that day, and then we moved to day 3.
So that's a pretty short day of competition. You had a 7-minute time cap, which took most of the 7 minutes for everyone. And then you had a 4-minute time cap and you finish it in 2.5 minutes. So you spent a total of 8.5 minutes working out that day.
Yeah, I mean, it was quick. And that's why I was like, you're not too beat up. Like, you're not too wrecked. Like, you can push the intensity. The competition is there. So you're moving fast. You're pushing hard. And I mean, they were super CrossFit-y workouts. Like, they were super just CrossFit style, like couplets. So yeah, you shouldn't have been too beat up after that.
Yeah, and I think it's there's always this question with when you're approaching the programming for any competition is, what experience do you want the athletes to have? And sometimes, you're gonna test the athlete's ability to recover one way or another. But through 2 days of competition, we haven't seen a workout like that just is like debilitating to the athletes. These are fast, they're intense, the skills are there, they're relevant, there's weightlifting, there's conditioning, but there's nothing that was like 6 rounds that takes 25 minutes and you're just slogging through with odd objects and machines and everything else. We haven't seen anything like that yet. So everyone should be feeling pretty good through 2 days.
Yeah, like the first day, the biggest thing was, the swim. The swim got your lats, the dumbbell shoulder overhead, got your shoulders. So your upper body was super taxed from day 1 in that swim. You got the weight lift, so you weren't too taxed. You weren't taxed from that, but CNS was probably a little shot trying to move some load, warming up, stuff like that. You get to day 2. The only thing that probably got you was the lunges and hang squat cleans, maybe the deadlifts a little bit. That was a lot of posterior chain work in that workout, and a lot of lower body work in that workout. The devil's press then hit your shoulders and just fatigued you a little bit. And then you get to the next workout. There's nothing really fatiguing about the workout other than the intensity that you have to push in it. So you woke up for day 2 a little bit sore. You go into day 3, legs should be a little sore from the lunges, but you should be good.
And so Saturday mornings, 3rd day of competition, we get a workout called Enter Sandman. It's 4 rounds of 8 snatches, 4 bar muscle ups, 8 clean to overhead, and 4 bar muscle ups. And it's lightweight, 95 pounds was all that you guys had on the bar. And I mean, once again, I'm looking at this workout, I'm thinking like, you got to kind of go for it. Like, there's nothing really in the way.
Yeah, it was a hard sprint. What I mean by that is like, you got to push and test, like, see what you got fitness wise. but you can't push that threshold too much, or you're gonna blow up. Your grip's gonna blow up. But it was a hard push. It was like, don't hold anything back, push where you can, but be smart for like where your fitness is at with these movements. And everyone had to know the moment you kind of overdid it, you were done.
Yeah, absolutely. And what the thing that I have started to notice is that the grip is definitely being tested. I mean, when you have unbroken lunges, deadlifts, hang cleans, you got to hold on to those dumbbells. The next workout has legless rope climbs and jump ropes. You're holding something the whole time. This has lightweight barbell cycling and gymnastics on a pull-up bar. So you've had 3 straight tests that, although they're very kind of different in design, the grip is an important factor in all of them.
Yeah, that day 3 snatch workout, that got snatch, clean and jerk, bar muscle up, that got super grippy. I think I did the first round unbroken, and the second round I did 4 snatches unbroken, and then I went singles for the remainder of the way.
Wow.
Because I just knew, like, you hold on to this bar just a few reps too long, you're gonna get taxed out. Like, you're gonna pay the price.
Yeah, and you obviously had a phenomenal performance there. You beat the field by 25 seconds or so, but I'm sure that there were men and women up and down the divisions that experienced what you just talked about, which was, just it's a workout that can sneak up on you. It doesn't look crazy. None of the reps in isolation are very high, but it adds up.
Yeah, and I always tell, like, I was talking about that workout, and one of the guys was like, man, I think I'm just going to try to go unbroken. And I was like, man, I've been doing this for a long time, man. Like, I wouldn't go unbroken. He was like, it's 95 pounds. I was like, stop looking at the rounds and think about the overall volume. Like, don't go into a workout and look at, like, the reps, like 8 snatches. No, it's 16 unbroken barbell reps. It's 8 unbroken, bar muscle ups. Like, when you multiply that by 4, it's like your grip never gets a break. You're doing a lot of volume. I was like, if you want to go unbroken, I mean, you're going to eat before me, so show me. Like, like, but I was like, I wouldn't go unbroken. I would try to stay on the bar muscle ups, because it's only 4, but I would manage my grip fatigue so that I could do that throughout the snatches and clean and jerks. And sure enough, it played true, because guys blew up and they couldn't hold on to the bar, and they were taking too much time to get on the bar muscle up because their grip was fatigued.
Yeah, and that time, and it's, again, it wasn't that long of a workout, and so time can certainly drift away pretty quickly. And 8-minute time cap for that one. And then second workout of the day is the longest one that we've seen so far. It's called Another One Bites the Dust, and it's basically an increasing pyramid, or an increasing ladder of handstand walking, starting with 20 feet, building to 100, and starting with 2 squat cleans, building to 10 at 225 pounds. And once again, I look at this workout and I think Easy's probably licking his chops. I'm a barbell and some handstand walking all day.
Yeah. This was another pretty good one for me. Every single event that I had that weekend, I went to the event like, okay, this is a good workout for me, or this isn't too bad for me, but how can I challenge myself in the workout? How can I, like, test my fitness, just to see where I'm at, just to play around with different things. And so on this one, I was just like, I want to try to push the handstand walk in the beginning and, like, actually get myself to that fatigue factor to see what happens. I was very, very close to regretting that I did that. I was very, very close to regretting that I did that. My shoulders blew up, and I almost couldn't catch the 225
damn.
on my shoulders, because my elbows just my shoulder wouldn't rotate to get under the bar, and my shoulders were fatigued. Not only I made a rookie mistake by wearing a tank top where I had no grip on my shoulders. My shoulders were just sweaty. But it was I just literally was like, I'm gonna come out hot. I'm going fast on the 20. I'm going fast on the 40. I'm going fast on the 60. The workout doesn't start to the 80, but I need to know what my shoulders do. A couple weeks back, I was in my garage doing handstand walks on a ramp. I got a ramp and stairs in my garage, and I was pissed off because I could not get over the handstand walk ramp. And I was like, I was mad because my shoulders were just fatigued. It wasn't like a skill thing that I just didn't have the skill. It was just like my shoulders are so blown up after training and working out, doing the workout I was doing, that I couldn't get over the ramp. And I was just mad. So I was just like, you know what? I need to push my handstand walks so that I know I'm comfortable when they're that fatigued, that I can still get the task done or the job done. So in that workout, I was just like, let me push the handstand walk. This workout doesn't start till the 8s anyway. Like it doesn't, like no matter how far you get ahead, if you're blown up by the 8s, if you're not fresh by the time you get to the 8s, you're gonna drastically slow down. And so I kind of knew the 225 would be my saving grace if worst came to worst, but it almost scared me because every time I caught it clean, it just slid down my shoulders, and I was just like, oh my goodness, don't do this to me. But yeah, that was a good one for me. That was a good workout for me.
And this is crazy. The guy who won this is a name I haven't seen in a long time. Brandon Prestorik, also a 2-time games athlete, but he hasn't competed at the CrossFit Games since 2011. His other appearance was 2009, and this is a cool thing to me, like being a historian of the sport, is when you see someone like that who was at the 2009 CrossFit Games, and he's showing up and winning a workout at the Legends Championship in 2023.
Yeah, literally, he was right next to me, and we were going back and forth in the lead, and we looked at each other before we handstand walked. It was kind of like, you go, no, like you go. Like, so it was a pretty cool experience with him. And then he got to the barbell before me, man. I was like, I want to touch and go this thing. I want to hang on to it, but I couldn't keep it in my front rack. And he was just super efficient. Like as he took a clean step back, took a breath, stepped up, took a clean step back, took a breath, stepped up, and just stayed at his, articulate pace for those 10 repetitions, which was super impressive.
Yeah, and he had a race on his hands there as well. Michael Pass, who ends up winning the whole thing, by the way. Michael Pass was he usually competes on a team. If you're not familiar with him, his 8th Day Black had 10th place at the games 2 years ago, but he also competed at the Masters Fitness Championship this year, and pretty good athlete in his own regard. I don't know if you want to say anything about Michael. Easy.
Yeah, I didn't get to really. I saw him next to me on the when we were doing the devil's press, the 240-foot lunge and stuff. That he was next to me. I didn't recall him much that weekend, like actually knowing where he was at, in first place or leading the field. I didn't know exactly where he was at, but man, his performance was just stellar. Like that was just a solid performance. For sure, he's going to be on the radar now, right? Where it's just like I know who he is now, and I'll start looking out for him now. But his performance was solid. His placings per workout was just like, this dude came to do business. Like he came to do work. And he just stayed super consistent. On the devil's press workout, I almost caught him on the workout. We were on the hang squat. We finished the hang squat cleans right at the same time, and we started doing devil's press. And I remember it was a moment where I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, gosh, it sucks. And like, I look over at him, and he's just not stopping. Like he was just like, I was like, okay, let me get this done. Like, because we got to the devil's press at the same time. I think he finished 4 reps before me. And of course, when you're that tired, one devil's press is like 6 seconds, like 5 seconds of work. And so I looked over and I'm like, dude, slow down, like chill, like slow down. Like, my mind, like he was just grinding him out, man. Like I know he was in pain because he ended up having to do he had to do 2 reps of the penalty during the squat cleans. And I went unbroken on the squat cleans. That's how I caught him. So I know he was hurting, but man, he was grinding him out. And so after that, I was like, okay, let me look out for this guy, man. But he seems like a really good competitor, man. I mean, of course, he's been to the game, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, 13th on the swim. Everything else was 2nd through 6th, so he didn't win anything other than the competition overall. But if you are a fan of the Masters divisions and you're looking forward towards next year in this division, if he decides to compete, I mean, it'll be tough when the full field of guys goes out there, but he's a guy that's probably worth knowing about. And so through 3 days of competition, although that last workout had a time cap that was 15 minutes, the best of you guys were still finishing it well underneath 10-minute mark. And so we still haven't had anything long going into the final day. And again, they're managing, several 8, 16, 32 different divisions or something like that. It's a lot of athletes competing there. But when you think about just the total spectrum of a 4-day competition, you might want to see something that's a little bit longer time domain. So see what the last day brings. This workout's called the Final Countdown. It's probably the one that was most difficult for me to understand initially, but it's a 3-part workout. There was a 6-minute window to do dumbbell snatches and goblet squats. And then you had a reset. 3-minute window to do dumbbell thrusters and bar facing burpees. I guess so there must have been a barbell out there. And it was for total reps. And I'm not sure if we lost easy or not there. see if he comes back. But if he does come back, we can ask him about it because it was by far his worst finish. Oh, there he is. You back? Easy. That you with us?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, hold on one second. Yep. Hold on 1 second. Make sure it's connected. There we go. All right. I think I'm good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. You're talking about the last event.
Well, it's listed? Was the final countdown the last event, or was Sunday Bloody Sunday the last event?
So it's a 2-part event. So if that's 2 workouts, 2 different scores.
Oh, okay.
I see. Okay,
Wow.
so what we're seeing, part 1 and part 2, happened at the same time as 2 different scores, and the first one was for reps, and the second one was for time.
Yes.
Okay, and so we didn't. So basically, we don't get anything long. We have a 6-minute cap, 1-minute reset, 3-minute cap. We got more weightlifting this time with the dumbbells coming back. So we've snatched now 3 times, and we've done cleans, or I guess something similar to a clean or press at least 3 times each as well.
Yes. Throughout the weekend.
Yeah. And you had like by far your worst finish on the first part of this 2-part workout. So can you explain what this part of it was and what happened?
Yeah. So I came into the weekend knowing some things about my body that, if I get into certain things, I got to just be smart. And I have a back injury that I've been dealing with for a while now. And I've been trying to take care of it, but just be smart in training and make sure I don't pinch too much. One of the reasons why I didn't want to do the devil's press was because that just flares up my back significantly. And I'm like, in the middle of work, I'm like, I don't want to do this. But of course, got to get it done. So that workout, I knew the dumbbell snatch with a 70-pound dumbbell snatch was going to be like the destroyer for me. Just that much hinging and that fast with the dumbbell. And, it may be a positional thing that I need to fix, but the workout was pretty fast. Of course, I think it was like 6 minutes. Ascending by 2 reps of a dumbbell snatch and 10 goblet squats with a 70-pound dumbbell. I knew my body being under the tension of that dumbbell it was just a matter of time. If I could prolong it, I was going to try to prolong it. So that workout, ideally for me, would be a phenomenal workout. My cycle rate on my squats are pretty fast, especially when it comes to a goblet. And then the dumbbell snatch is just a power output movement. There's just a hinge in the power output. Due to my back, I got to the set of 8, and my back just blew up. It was just too much pressure in my low back and too much pain. So I couldn't really try to push through it, or I couldn't. Like, there was nothing I could do. It was just like it was too much pain, too much pressure on my back and my pelvis. So I just had to pull back and try to slow down and just get through it. Of course, you get a 1-minute rest after you get done with that, and then you go into the 50 dumbbell thrusters with 2 35-pound dumbbells, and that leads into 25 bar facing burpees. After that minute rest, I was just like, I don't know what I got to take to finish this, because I was feeling the pressure when I went to squat. So when I was squatting, I could feel the pressure in my pelvis and in my back. So I was like, I don't know what I really got in me, but I tried to push out as much as I could to finish that workout and just get the best score possible. But that workout was brutal. It didn't crush me the way I thought it would, but I couldn't move at the intensity that I was capable of moving at either, due to the fact that my back was just blown up from all the hinging on the dumbbell snatches.
Yeah, I mean, even absent of however the body may have been feeling, prior to coming to the competition, it's the end of the weekend. It's, even though none of the days were super crazy in terms of volume, in fact, they were quite manageable, I would say. You take the floor, there's 200 points available. It's still 25% of the points. And in 10 minutes, everything's going to be settled. Like, there's a little bit of pressure that comes in that. I'm sure the guys were feeling it. And 6-minute AMRAP with nothing but a 70-pound dumbbell sounds terrible to me.
Yeah, it was a brutal workout. In an ideal world, that's a those two couplets, those two style workouts for me in the ideal world are perfect. Like I would be able to really push through those workouts, just due to the fact where my back was at. There was no there was no pushing through what I was expressing. I got done with that workout, and literally, I don't think I could walk for like 15 minutes.
Shit.
So,
So that's thanks for kind of walking us through the competition. Like I said, we weren't able to watch any of these things, so it's kind of cool to get to live them through your perspective there. Um, what was the general sentiment amongst the guys? Was it like good camaraderie? Were guys hanging out? Was it pretty competitive?
yeah, it was competitive, of course, right? It's a field of 40 athletes, so like the competition was there. Guys were getting after it. The field of just masters is different, man. Everybody's super cool, chill. You know what I'm saying? Having conversations, strategizing together. May the best man win kind of deal. Um, but it was fun. It was a good vibe. I feel like they ran the event super well. As far as like prepping us, getting us ready, making sure we're corralled in the right areas at the right times. I don't think we really had any. Of course, we're adults. We're grown men. I mean, not to say anything against the open division, but like nobody was just like running late or missing where they had to go find people. Um, yeah, and it was just fun. It was just a good time.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you brought that up because obviously they are going to take on the games next year, and you've been a part of the CrossFit Games in various capacities over your career, so you know what that kind of looks like and feels like on the logistics side. And it sounds to me like based on what happened this weekend, that from that perspective, you think these guys are up to the job.
Yeah, I think they'll do a good job. Um, they ran that event pretty well, and like I said, like everybody was where they needed to be at the right times. I think they were very very effective in like getting information to you about like when your heat is, when your time is, what stage you're on. Like we got multiple emails throughout the night. They posted it on social media. Um, you can talk to people before and after events. So like the information about like where you're going to be, what time you got to be there, everything. They were very, very detailed and very, very on point with that stuff. Um, like each day, each night.
Yeah, and that's awesome to hear. We also know that there were some representatives from CrossFit HQ that were there. Did you get a chance to run into, speak to any of those guys?
No, I didn't. I wish I know. I saw. Oh my goodness, why I just
Boz,
blank.
Dave, Sevon.
Bob, yeah, yeah, I saw Bob. Um, just gave him a high five. Didn't see Dave. Didn't see Sevon. But yeah, man. I mean, I think they're up to the challenge. I think it's going to be good for the Masters for sure. I think it'll be really, really good for us, especially to get a bigger field of athletes, and kind of have the focus on the Masters athletes directly, especially with all the. I hope they do it. All the names that are now in the 35, 39 division, all the top tier athletes that are now in that division, which I'm hoping they all sign up for the Open, compete, and try to, qualify for the games. It'd be a fun event with the new faces that are around, the new guys that are kind of running the Masters, and then the old guys that are coming from the CrossFit Games that are now newly Masters. I think it'll be a really good event, fun time.
There's certainly no shortage of competitive people in that age division. We'll see how the bodies and the minds all hold up and decide to go. But I'm with you. It would be great to see like a full field, or at least close to it, of the guys that we know are out there. And then maybe the last question, because as we're going through the programming and I was looking at it, I mean, there's a swimming workout, but they did have a weightlifting movement paired with it. And you had the jump workout. There was no weights in sight. The rest of the workouts, so 7 of the 8 workouts, had weightlifting as a component of the workout. And I feel like it strikes me as a little strange.
Yeah, I think when I looked at the programming and saw the workouts, I was like, man, all of these are like CrossFit style workouts. They're super simple. They're very, very fast, which to me, a lot of those played in my favor. Like a lot of those workouts were very, very comfortable. I didn't see any handstand. There was no handstand push-ups. There was no wall ball. There was no, um, um, ring muscle ups. There was no row, ski, bike, things like that. Run, things like that that actually challenge you in other ways, and make the competition a little fun. So I hope in the future that those things are implemented. No even like odd objects like heavy sandbags or things like that, right? Where I hope in the future those things are presented. They did have an issue at Desert City, and they said the sandbags busted open at Desert City. They then said this was just athletes talking and stuff like that. They said the sandbags at Desert City busted open. They then said the the rings. They said they had ring muscle ups and people's feet were hitting each other, or they were just like in the way, like they couldn't fully kick, so they didn't hit each other. So I guess out of those issues that they had at Desert City, which was hosted at the same venue, you ready for me to open the door? I guess at that same venue, they took those things out just to be on the safe side of running a clean cut competition without those issues. But yeah, it was a video posted, like a guy's sandbag, like completely like busted open. He was just
Yeah,
throwing sand.
I was there at Desert City. Those things are both true. And they had
Okay.
basically, which is I think it's a decent idea. They'd rented the equipment, shared the cost for the two competitions since they were only like a month apart. And so
Yeah,
potentially some limitations in that regard. But just making some observations on the workouts.
yeah. I'm always one of those guys where I'm like, when I go to a competition, I need things like that I suck at to see where I'm at. Like, and so like that was the only issue that I had with the programming. There was two issues that I had. One was the programming, and like not as much variation that you would normally see like at the CrossFit Games, right? Like at the CrossFit Games, you're gonna see running. At the CrossFit Games, you're gonna see some type of rowing event. Like you're gonna see the bike. You're gonna see barbell cycling from light to heavy loads. So
And
there
even
was
probably some element of just athleticism of outside of the gym stuff
yeah,
with away from
yeah,
maybe the jumping for the legless rope climb. You didn't really get any of that.
yeah. So I mean, we didn't have any box jump overs, handstand push-ups, wall balls. There was a lot of movements where I was like, even toe to bars. I was like, there's a lot of things that we missed out on. And then the other thing was like one of the floors, the fields, and this is just my critique. You couldn't see any of the athletes working because the judges were. It was like the spectators, the judges all lined up, and then the athletes on the handstand walk workout. And so like you couldn't see the field. Like you couldn't see what was going on. You couldn't really see anything going on because the judge is literally walking in your lane backwards as you're handstand walking toward them. And so it was just things like that where it's just like you want to make sure like people can see all the events very, very clear, so they can have the excitement, so the videos can be posted and stuff like that. There was just a few events like even the clean and jerk snatch, you couldn't see me at all if you were standing in the spectator area, and so it was just
That's a
things like
shame.
that. Yeah, it was just things like that where I was like, my critique would be like, you got to find a way to put the judges somewhere else because all the spectators need a clear sighting, and I think that was one of the issues at the games last year where people were like, we couldn't see anything on the live stream, we couldn't watch it, we couldn't see certain lanes and things like that. So it's like
Sure.
that was one of the things that people were complaining about. If we're gonna go for it this year, it's like make it all clean cut where when people are watching, they can see their athletes, their people they came with and stuff like that.
Seems like fair critiques to me. Well, Easy Man, I know you got a ton going on. Thank you for walking us through the weekend. And
For sure, man. I appreciate you having me on.
all right. Well, happy holidays to you and your family. Keep doing the good work, brother. I know you are.
I appreciate it. Talk to y'all soon.
All right. See you, Easy. So obviously he's got a lot going on, but appreciate him taking the time to walk us through that. Didn't have a chance to see, like we said, any of those events happen live. I had a chance to kind of look through some of the programming, but it's nice to hear it from, someone who did it. And I think that his evaluations are pretty fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And looking at the workouts, obviously you saw there was, I mean, more than half of those were workouts you would expect him to do really well in. And then I was kind of wondering, what happened those last two workouts, and he gave us the answer. His back kind of blew up, and he'd been kind of dealing with the injury. But I think a healthy, easy Muhammad, like the one that you saw the first 3 days, is a serious contender for the 35 to 39-year-old age group. He's definitely top 5, pushing for a podium. And it's cool to see him out there. I think any competition you have someone like Easy of his celebrity, his influence out competing, it's always a good thing. So, you know, he's definitely makes the competition better, and it's more watchable when you got someone like him there.
Only if it is watchable, actually.
Exactly.
But those
But
are
I
nice.
mean,
I mean,
yeah.
but like you said, he has a lot. He was talking with some of the athletes. I've been doing this for a long time, and so if he's coming away from that competition and he's saying it was fun, it wasn't a beat down. We were able to manage it. Everything was on time.
Mhm.
It ran really smoothly. He's acknowledging the good things about the competition, and then he's taking I think, very realistic look at it and saying, hey, there's a few things in terms of the presentation that I think could be improved. And there's a few things in terms of the programming that I think could be opened up a bit if you're going to be hosting the CrossFit Games, especially with what we've come to know them to be as a well-rounded full test of fitness. You have 4 days, not a single time where the best athletes on the field to play more than 10 minutes at a time. You got a swim and a jump rope. There's only monostructural elements in the entire competition.
Yeah.
I think there's just a little bit of room there. Maybe there's some explanations for some stuff that they were planning to have that they couldn't have for reasons potentially out of their control. That's fine. But I think everything that he had to say is super fair. And, grateful for him taking the time.
You would think that whatever shortfalls that the organizers, which are Bob and Joe, I mean, they're obviously they know how to throw an event. Whatever shortfalls they do have, which might not be, I mean, in my opinion, isn't many. But when it comes to like program and stuff like that, I think that's where having CrossFit associated with you as a partner will help them out. Will maybe get another set of eyes on the programming, or maybe they'll have certain criteria that they have to these outside organizations have to adhere by in order to be a CrossFit event. So it's just only going to get better. Like these guys who've done Legends, they've done many competitions. They're really good. And like Easy said, some of the stuff that they do, like some of the small stuff that we kind of take for granted, like corral times, keeping communication, all that stuff. That's stuff that most competitions, obviously, that's usually their downfall. But they already have stuff like that in place. So it's just cleaning things up a little bit. And I'm excited to see what Legends does next year. We're hoping to get one of the guys on, but obviously things are busy. It's the holidays and stuff like that. And the main thing, I think the sticking point right now it is the dates of Legends and also location. And hopefully those will both come out hopefully in the new year. They weren't in the rule book as we went through it last night, but hopefully sooner than later that stuff will be released, and I'm looking forward to it.
Agree. So I think shorter show today. Nothing wrong with that.
I do have something. I want to hear. Of course, I want to hear your opinion on things. So obviously, yesterday, Proven made an announcement that they have a new coach. And his name is, for those who don't know, I mean, obviously me and Brian are pretty familiar with this guy, but Jarrett Smith has made the move from CompTrain to Proven. Your opinion on that move?
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that there was a pretty core team in CompTrain for a long time. Obviously, Ben Bergeron was the figurehead and the most forward-facing of those people. I think at this point, a lot of people are aware of Harry Pally, and maybe don't know how integral he was to the system over there. But he's moved on a couple of years ago and is now with HWPO. And then Jarrett Smith is also one of those guys that was like involved in the CompTrain for a long time, at least from what it seems. And so for him moving on from there, it's, I would say probably it's an opportunity that's really good for him. And maybe that Proven saw some of the value that he's and experience that he's accumulated through his time with CompTrain. I'm sure they reached out to him as they're clearly forging into a new direction themselves, and maybe wanted to kind of bring in a perspective of someone who's seen some stuff over the years that maybe they haven't seen. So I'm not surprised that someone like this would be recognized by some of his peers. And I think it's probably a really great opportunity for him.
Yeah, I had a chance to chat with him yesterday, very briefly. He's actually in Nashville now. He's been there for a while. This is something obviously that some people in the space knew that was happening. They just formally made an announcement. And what I find interesting is a couple days ago, Matt Torres was on Sevon's podcast. If you get a chance, check out that podcast. It's pretty good because we are that part of the season where there is a lot of transitioning from athletes. But what we don't see is, and we hardly ever hear much about, is the coaches moving on as well from camp to camp. And we're seeing a lot of that, especially last year with these major camps establishing themselves and bringing in some of these up and coming coaches, young up and coming coaches. But bringing Matt brought it up in terms of like when a coach leaves, what they typically do is the athletes that they coach, they're usually given a couple options, and either they can go with that coach or they could stay and work with whoever's left. And in this case, Jarrett, he works with 3 pretty well-known athletes. One of them, Sydney McClishan, Lucy McGonigal, if people that know her, probably 2-time teen division winner, up and coming, and then Caroline Stanley. And talking to him, all 3 of those are actually moving over to Proven. And I think that kind of goes back to when we made that when we had those conversations about HWPO regarding them making an announcement of who their pro athletes are. I would expect something like that at Proven as they reload for the 2024 season.
Yeah, and it's to me it sounds similar to when Coach Dom went from being with Brute to being with Mayhem. And I think for a lot of the athletes, it's more of the relationship they have with their coach than necessarily with the training program. And so if they still feel good about how things are going with Jarrett and feel like they're moving in the right direction, then I would do the same, I think.
Yeah. And he did say that I believe Sydney is moving to Nashville as well. So obviously he's been working with Sydney for a while, and Sydney's someone that's been on your radar back when she won Wadapalooza in the RX division. Still a relatively young athlete, very athletic. A lot of people don't realize that she has a collegiate volleyball background, which it shows in her athleticism. But what do you think being at a camp like Proven with their resources? Not saying she didn't have those resources at CompTrain, but being at Proven, do you expect that to play a big difference in Sydney McClishan's season and even Caroline Stanley?
I'm just happy Sydney continues to have opportunities to move towards better weather.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
She comes from a pretty remote and cold part of Canada. So got some couple years in Boston, making her way down to Nashville, and who knows where she'll go from there. But no, I think she didn't have the season she wanted last year. Caroline Stanley did have a good season last year. And I think it'll be fine. I think that they'll continue to do well. I think they both will have a chance to make the games this year. It's not going to be easy, but that they should, they can certainly both do it.
Yeah, because they'll be in that East division. I mean, I know we talked about it earlier about the West, but the East now is it's going to be tough. I mean, Caroline made it out of the East last year, and Sydney unfortunately didn't. But wait, was Sydney was in the West last year, correct?
I think so. Obviously, I think she used her Canada.
She was just training. Yeah, but I believe she was out West.
Sorry, I'm just trying to pull something up.
Jarrett's a good dude. He is. He actually is. So, but we plan on, hopefully we're trying to set up something
15th in the West. Yes.
Yeah.
But when you think about, when you specifically think about the East semifinal for the women's side, it's I think Tia will have a chance to compete there if she wants to, because I think she's lived in the States for over 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
So she should be able to apply for that and get it. And that is a problem, That's a spot.
It is.
And really, realistically, when you look at the women that were there last year, Emma Carey, Danielle Brandon, Amanda Barnhart, Emma Lawson, Alexis Rapton, and Paige Powers were clearly 100 points more, 150 points ahead of the rest of the women in that division. I think all of those women will be competing again this year, as far as I know. Add Tia to that mix, and so you're pretty much looking at, they're guaranteed 5 spots. Obviously, they're going to get more than that after the haunt distributions for the strength of fields, but pretty much like 7 spots are gone. And so if you're trying to make the CrossFit Games as a woman in North America East, the maximum number of spots is going to be 12, I guess. And, it's going to be 11 or 12, something like that. Last year they had 11. And, Brooke Wells didn't make it last year.
Yep.
I would probably say there's a good chance she's going to make it this year. So then just the point is that the number of spots is dwindling quickly. And if you're talking about people that did make it last year, Sydney Wells, she's only getting better.
Paige
Gaffey, coming off the best year of her career. Still, Shelby Neal has, she looked great in last year's semifinals. Caroline Stanley, we mentioned, Paige Semenza, who's a veteran, and Annika Greer, who people have these like huge expectations for. And I don't know if Sydney McAlishan will be East or West. Jordan Chefs, who we've talked about, Carolyn Prevost, who's still a veteran athlete that's out there, Ashley Wozni. And it's just like, it becomes really, it's difficult. Like, there are going to be athletes that you think in your mind are CrossFit Games athletes that don't make it because there's just not enough spots in that division. And like I said, 7 or 8 of them are pretty much locked, barring injury or illness. So it's a if they compete in that division, they don't make it. It's not like they're terrible. It's just really hard.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, Annika is a perfect example of that. We've seen how great of an offseason she's had so far this year. She's competed in 2 offseason competitions, 2 podiums, 2 very different offseason competitions. So she's getting that experience, and that's what she wanted. I mean, the last couple of years, she's made some errors on and off the field of play, and some errors that she attributes to just getting more competition experience. So she's getting that now. And then someone like Ashley Wozni, who's been in CrossFit for a long time as a teen athlete, but I think she's only going to be 22, 23.
She's actually 25.
25. Okay. Yeah. But still, that's still relatively young. And then, we mentioned Annika, who I think is now 21. But yeah, it's going to be, and then Sydney's what, 20, probably 23, 24 now, 25.
McAlishan?
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And then again, you got Carolyn Stanley, who's in her early 20s as well, 23, 22, 23. Shelby Neal's in the same boat, 22, 23. I mean, it's just, it's going to be rough. And, but the whole Tia thing, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. If she does compete in the East, does she potentially, is that taking a spot away from one of her own like proven athletes?
Could be. It's, I mean, we don't know. We don't know what she'll choose to do. I guess she has to apply every year. Everyone has to apply. It seems to us, based on the prerequisites that they've detailed in the rule book, that she would qualify for that exemption if she applies for it. But yeah, that could be a serious conversation. And I believe they're over in Australia now with their baby, and people over there, obviously their family and stuff, are loving to see them. So I think she's not concerned about qualifying for the games wherever she competes, and just kind of evaluating with what her objectives are for this season, with what her travel looks like, what makes sense. And she has a month to decide if she wants to apply for that or not. And then how I understand it is when the Open starts, we'll know. Like it'll designate, and I think we'll even put an American flag by her name if she chooses to do that for all the stages of the season up until the games.
That's what I think it said. That's how we interpret it in the rule book. Once they declare that flag will stay the same throughout the rest of that the season. But if I'm Tia, I mean, how do you pass up competing at Torian? I mean, we see how energetic and how hyped that and how amazing that is. And, she does have such a strong love for Australia. And it's not like when she got the exemption a couple years ago where there was travel restrictions and her having to stay in a hotel on our own cost for like up to a week before and after because of stuff. So, it seems like she's going in, and I mean, I'd be surprised if she competes out east. I really would be. Maybe that's a question we can ask her. We're hoping to get her on here soon. Maybe that's something we can ask her. But in any case, but yeah, just a lot of moving and shaking. Like I wanted to kind of reiterate, it's just not athletes; it's also coaches, and kind of following up on that, kind of piggybacking off Sevon's interview with Matt Torres. You're seeing that now. You're seeing a lot of those athletes, choosing their coaches and going with them. And the East is going to be fun, especially it being in Knoxville again. And so you have the Proven camp there. That's only 2.5 hours away. And then you also have Mayhem, which is only an hour away from Knoxville. So should be fun to watch. Yeah. So, well, Brian, any big plans for the holidays? You're going back to Chicago?
Next week, I'm just easy weekend, taking some time to myself, prepare some other stuff, some content that we're working on and getting ready for the early part of next season, or of the next month, I guess. It's still the same off season. Yep, I'll go up to Chicago and Wisconsin next week to visit some friends and family there that I haven't seen since I left, and then make my way down to Miami for Wadapalooza.
I know, it's like less than 3 weeks away. Whew. But all right, well, that was cool having Easy on. Yeah, right now, no other shows scheduled for today or the rest of the week, but it was a full week. Hopefully, we said if you get a chance, like Brian said at the beginning of this, we have a lot of episodes up there if you want to catch up, or download them and listen to them while you work out, while you do your 12 days of Christmas. I think the Fikowski one's a really good, interesting one if you want to kind of get a perspective of an athlete who's going through the rule book with us. And Ed, I really enjoyed that interview. It's probably the most I've talked in terms of interview, just because I'm so interested in those two guys. They're good people and in the state of CrossFit in China. So, yeah, so a lot of content up there for people to, to absorb and enjoy during the holidays. And we'll be back next week with, like I say, a couple shows, some things we have planned. And, yeah, that's all I got. So, like Brian said, yeah, happy holidays and Merry Christmas to all our followers and supporters out there. You got anything, Brian?
Nope.
All right. Well, for this holiday, especially during the holiday season, remain and stay and be friendly, our friends.